All right, welcome folks to the next NBC game of the week, which just happens to be on season ticket baseball. And this game is coming to you from Shea Stadium in New York. It will be the Cincinnati Reds against the New York Mets. I need to adjust my setup here. I had it on Strat, now I got to fix it to where I can fit everything in, hopefully, without being too crooked. Try not to get anybody dizzy here if we can. I think that might cut it right there. Brian B likes to have the benches and bullpens listed, so I went ahead and did that for you, Brian B. When you get here, you'll have that for you. So you can see who's on the bench and who's on the bullpens for both teams. These are the eligible guys, and if they're not there, they're not eligible. Hello, Hardwood. Hello, Ben, and hello, Kenyon. I'm not fully okay, but I'm just about there, maybe about 90% there. So we're working on it. But it's Sparky Anderson's Reds against Joe Torre's Mets. And you see the bench and bullpen players here. These are the actual starting lineups. Pete Rose at third. Ken Griffey in right. Joe Morgan at second. George Foster in left. Dreesen at first. Concepcion at short. Geronimo in center. Don Warner doing the catching. And Doug Capilla doing the pitching. Bench is available. He is on the sidelines, maybe a day game after a night game. I'm not sure what the reason why he's not starting, but that's the way it is. For the Mets, they will send up Lenny Randle at third, Elliot Maddox in right, Steve Henderson in left, Willie Montanez at first, John Stearns catching, Lee Mazzilli in center, Bobby Valentine at second, and Doug Flynn at short with right-hander Nino Espinosa on the mound. Probably should have taped these suckers down, but I didn't, so we'll just have to wing it. This is the first time trying this setup in this particular manner. Might want to take this glare off of here. I think that ring light is just causing too much glare, so I don't want to do that. Might need to up the overhead light just a hair. Give us some extra lighting here, perhaps. That might help make it a little brighter. Let's bring this over here. I'm going to try to get this thing lined up and set and situated and be done with it, if at all possible. So I'm hoping that's about as good as I'm going to get it right there. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get it. I could go a little bit lower, I guess, maybe get a little closer, but then I might lose some of the peripherals. So I'm thinking, pardon the interruption here while I get this straight, and I don't want it to be leaning or at an angle, so I want to get this thing correct. Well, I'm just making it worse by doing what I'm doing, I guess. I don't know. Now the ring light wants to come back on. All right, I think that's about as good as I'm going to get. I'm going to leave it right there so I don't make it any worse than what it already is. Hello, Brian B. You can see, Brian B, I've got the lineup board, not the lineup boards, but the benches and bullpen boards for you, so you can have at it and manage along with me. See who's on the bench and who's on the bullpens for both teams. Hello, Larry. Good to see you. So we are ready to go. Ballpark, first thing we have to do is see what kind of weather we're going to have here in Shea Stadium. It is a day game. We are in the month of the month of April, because this game was played April 29th. So we're still in the month of April, which is a 47-degree factor. Going to roll all three dice. See if we can at least get to 54. If we get to 54, if these three dice add up to at least 7, then there won't be any effect. And they do. They got an 11 there. That makes that a 58-degree day, so there is no effect. I'm not doing rain, not doing wind, just doing the temperature, just to keep it simple. So, no effect on the ballpark. All deep drives are going to count as they would normally. Nino Espinosa will be facing Pete Rose to lead things off. And these things slide around quite a bit, these printed cards. Now, Capilla didn't pitch many innings for the Reds. In fact, he only had 11 innings pitched all season, so he is a PDF. I had to print him a PDF. You can see the difference between him and Rose. There's a definite quality difference there because I don't have the kind of printer that Clay Dresslock has. Hello, Mr. Robert. Good to see you. All right, so I think we're in good shape. Let me turn the light down one notch. It might be too bright. Let's see, or does that make it not bright enough? Kind of betwixt and between here about what I want to do with this. I don't know if this coming on would make a difference or not. I think we'll leave it like that. I think that'll be fine, just like that. Yes, congratulations on another season, Mr. Robert. The 83 Tigers did it, and I'm talking about convincing fashion. They just blew the Dodgers out of the water. And Glenn Abbott, congratulations to him, and congratulations to Lance Parrish, the MVP of that series. So be sure to tune in tonight for the recap show and the announcement of the new season by RJL tonight on his channel. Tonight, after RJL is done, I'll be back out with the Stratomatic ball game between the Yankees and the White Sox, 1987. That'll be tonight sometime. All right. So all those particulars are out of the way. Let's see if there's anything else that I'm missing that I need to get going before the ball game starts. And my little base running tokens, I forgot to bring them out. So let me get those. They're printed. I just never cut them out. So I will do that real quick while people are filing into the stadium and getting ready for first pitch. And that way you can know who's on what base and what team is batting and all that good stuff. Now, the other channel doesn't have these delays. The other channel is perfectly prepared every single time. I know this. So it's his world. We just live in it. All right. So there are your Reds base runners, and they're going to be your Mets base runners. So we're all set. All right. So leading off will be Pete Rose against Nino Espinosa, who was 11-15 on the season with a 4.73 earned run average. And of course, this game was played on April the 29th, 1978. Real world game. The Reds blew out the Mets 14-7. Mets had a 4-0 lead after 1 and a 6-1 lead after 3. And they chased Capilla, but then Murray, Bourbon, and Baer shut them down the rest of the way. And the Mets bullpen crapped the bed the rest of the way too, and allowed the Reds to win it. Pete Rose went 5 for 6 with 4 runs scored and 4 RBIs in this game, real world. So we'll see what he can do in this game. All right, so we're ready to go. That's Espinosa against Pete Rose. That's a 621 right off the bat. We're going to the ballpark, 621, and that's going to be a pop-up to second base. So pop up to second. Pete Rose is out of there. Oh, forgot that one last thing I forgot to do was get my little marker for the outs. Okay, one away. One away as Pete Rose pops to second base. All right, that will send up Ken Griffey. That's a 580. That's a fielding play, but it's the center fielder, and it's a rare play because it's a 500 to 509. Take that back. It is a rare play. And with the bases empty on a rare play, we will be using page 30, or at least starting with page 30 in the rare play book. If we get a 100 to 345, we'll use this page. If it gets higher, we'll go to the next page. It is a 253. So 253 is right here. It says as above 250, 250, but balls hit the center field. All right. So here it's the single plus, but the E8 is in question because it's saying E8. So these two are a mirror of this one. So it's a single to left. Ball rolls under the left fielder's glove all the way to the wall. All runners score. Batter reaches third and must try to score by challenging the left fielder's arm. So how about that? The left fielder in this case for the Mets is Steve Henderson, one of the trades on Tom Seaver. They got Henderson. His arm is a 6 in left field, so they must challenge his arm. Griffey runs at a 6. His speed is a 6, and the arm challenge is a 6. So we got to challenge the arm to see if he can score. So again, we go to our challenging on base hits right here. Challenge, we have the speed plus these 3 dice have to be equal to or greater than 10 plus the arm of the outfielder. Henderson's arm's a 6, so these total is 16. Griffey's speed is a 6, so these 3 dice have to add up to 10 or higher. If he does, he will score. There'll be a little league inside the park home run, but actually a single with a big error. I'm sorry, center fielder, not left fielder. You are correct. Let me go back to center field. Center field is Mazzilli. My bad. It is Mazzilli. So let's look at Mazzilli. Get Mazzilli's numbers or stuff here. Mazzilli's arm is only a 4, not as good. It's only a 4, so he's got to beat 14. So basically, these 3 dice have to add up to 8 or higher. 8 or higher. 8 or higher, and he will score. They do not. It's a 6, so Mazzilli throws him out. How about that? Mazzilli throws him out. So he tried to score all the way. It's a single, goes to the wall, all runners score. Batter reaches third and must try to challenge. So it's a single. I don't know if it gives it. I'm assuming that you're going to count a 2-base error here because it says the 2-base error, but the runner has to score. So it's going to be a single by Griffey. It's a 2-base error on Mazzilli that takes him to second base. But then he's out, and it's going to go 8-6-2 as Mazzilli hit the cutoff man, and they get Griffey trying to score all the way from first. So how about that? A single and 2-base error on the Mets, but the Reds get an out and don't get anything out of it. Now the bases are empty with 2 outs for Joe Morgan. I'm hoping I did that correctly. Somebody can let me know if I did not. But anyway, that was definitely a rare play for sure. So I'll bring up Little Joe. That's a 154, and that's going to be a 2-out walk to Little Joe. So Little Joe will draw the base on balls. Can he get the lead? In order to establish the lead, it is the steal rating, which is only a 1, and the hold of Espinosa is a 6, so that's not a very good chance. 2 dice have to beat 16, and they do not. So Morgan cannot get the lead. He will hold, and George Foster is your batter. 380. Espinosa against Foster against a non-split. 380 is a single plus to right field. So a single plus to right field. That's going to put runners on the corners. Or do I have to challenge? Let me check the single plus. I think it only means the runner on second would score, right? Let me double check this. Yeah, runner on first only goes to second. Runner on first only goes to second on the single to right. But you could challenge the right fielder arm. Right fielder arm on the Mets is Maddox. Elliot Maddox. And let me get Maddox's stuff here. Get his card so I can see what his arm is. Elliot Maddox's arm is a 7. Boy, do you really want to challenge that? That's the question. Not sure you want to challenge. Oh, did I misread that? 380 is a home run? Did I misread that? How in the hell did I misread that? 3-8-0. You're absolutely right. That's a 2-run home run from George Foster. We ain't got to worry about challenging anybody. Thank you for pointing that out, Captain. I don't know how I missed that. But it is a solid home run for George Foster. He hit 40 on the season. 3-8-0. You were absolutely correct. I don't know why I was looking up here. 3-8-0 is a 2-run home run off the bat of George Foster. How about that? So Espinosa gets dinged for 2 runs here in the first so far. Good thing they had that rare play for an out, or it would have been worse. But 2 outs, base is clear now for Dan Dreesen. Yes, Ben, that does. I just misread it, unfortunately. But fortunately, I got corrected, so we're good. 659 for Dreesen. 659 is a 6-3 ground out, and that will end the inning. But a 2-run inning for Cincinnati on the 2-run homer by George Foster. And we will go to the bottom of the first at Cincinnati 2, and the New York Mets coming to bat, but never fear, Doug Capilla is pitching, so you're liable to see lots of runs, is all I can say about that. It'll be Randall, Maddox, Henderson, Montanez, Stearns, Mazzilli, Valentine. Get Valentine over here. Where'd he go? Just had him a second ago. What the heck happened to Valentine? How'd he get way over there? There's Valentine. Okay. Somehow the lineup got a little out of order here. Valentine, Flynn, and then the pitcher. Okay. Now we're set. Now we are set. So Lenny Randall will lead things off for the Mets. Lenny Randall, third baseman. Yes, Brian B., I am version 3 only as well. I'm right there with you. I made a slight mistake on the lineup board. I listed Ferrer, or however you pronounce his name, as a right-handed hitter. He's actually a switch hitter. So I did fix that. He would bat right-handed against Capilla if he comes against a lefty. But right now it's going to be Lenny Randall against Capilla. That's a 487. Randall against a left-hander when the splits. 487 is a deep fly to center field. And that's 1 away. So Randall is retired. And that'll bring up the right fielder, Elliot Maddox. That's a 343, and that's a non-split. 343 is a pop-up to first base. And that's 2 away now. And in this game, I'm not really going to worry about whether it's fair or foul. It really doesn't matter. Here's Henderson. 463, and that's against the splits against a lefty. 463 is a solid single to center field. Would have been a strikeout against a righty, but against the lefty, it's a solid single for Steve Henderson. So Henderson is aboard with a 2-out single. And that sets it up for Willie Montanez. It is lefty on lefty. That is a 212. 212 is going to be a redirect to a 412. 412 is going to be a 4-6 fielder's choice, and that's going to end the inning. So Morgan flips over to Concepcion, and that takes care of the Mets in the first. We go to the second. Score remains Cincinnati 2, and the Mets nothing. And Dave Concepcion will lead off for the Reds. It'll be Concepcion, Geronimo, and Werner due up for the Reds here in the top of the second. We get a 5-13. That's a fielding check on the pitcher, Espinosa. And a 5-13 is going to be a 1-3 putout. Would have been a double play, but nobody else is on base. But he's up to the task, makes the catch, and fields it cleanly, throws over to the first baseman, Montanez, for 1 away. Here's Cesar Geronimo. 243. That's in this against lefties. 243. That's a deep drive to center field. Would have been a fly out to a righty, but against Geronimo, it's a deep fly to center. His power rating is a 3. Weather effects are none. So it's a deep drive to center. We're going to roll these 2 dice and add it to the 3 power rating of Geronimo. They add up to an 11. That gives us a 14, and that's just a deep fly to center field. So Espinosa gets away with one there. Deep fly to center, but just allowed out. And here comes the catcher, Werner. 298. That's against a right-hander. It's a deep drive to left on a 298. Werner's power, though, is a 0, so not likely to do much here. Maybe a base hit. And that's a 5. And the deep drive was to left field. So a 5 is a double. It's still going to be a double for Werner. So Werner gets himself a 2-out double. And that's going to bring up Capilla to pinch hit, or not to pinch hit, but to hit. He will hit with Werner at second base and 2 down. That will take it to the pitcher. And Capilla, if we look at his eye and his contact, they're both 0s. So he's going to be in the 0 column on either one if it gets to his card. But it won't. It actually goes to the ballpark card. 645, 645, and that is a 4-6 ground out, but basically in this case a 4-3 ground out, and that ends the inning. So the double from Werner doesn't amount to anything. We go to the bottom of the second, still 2-0 favor of the Reds. And leading off for the Mets will be catcher John Stearns. Stearns will lead it off. He'll be followed in the order by Mazzilli and Valentine. We get a 291, and that's a split chance against a right-handed hitter. 291 is a deep drive to left. Stearns' power is a 7. That's pretty good. We're going to add 7 on this deep drive to left and see what happens. See if Stearns puts one out of here. He does not. That's a 4. So it's a total of 11. It's still going to be a double. Still going to be a double for John Stearns. Leadoff double for Stearns as he tries to get something started for the Mets. Leadoff double. John Stearns. And that will send up Lee Mazzilli. Hello, Ernest. Good to see you. Lee Mazzilli. That's a 612, but the home team's batting, so it's a 622. But it's just going to be instead of a strikeout, it would be a pop up to second. That's the only difference. Still 1 away with no advancement of the runners. Brings up second baseman Bobby Valentine. 2-2-2 against Capilla versus a right-hander, and that's going to be a redirect to a 422. 422 against the left-hander is a 6-4-3 double play, but runner at second, so it's just a 6-3 ground out with the runner holding. So they get the leadoff double, but they can't advance them anywhere. Here's Doug Flynn. Now Espinosa is on deck. They could walk Flynn, but I think Sparky wants to go ahead and pitch to Flynn and have the pitcher lead off next inning. 403, 403, and that's going to be a 1-3 ground out, and that's going to end the inning. So Sparky's strategy pays off, and Espinosa will have to lead off the bottom of the third. So leadoff double from John Stearns, but the Mets can't take advantage. We go to the third. Still 2-0 favor of the Reds. Espinosa back out, and Pete Rose will lead things off. Rose popped to second his first time up. And again, if anybody catches me doing anything incorrectly, please chime in. I want to learn. I want to make sure I get this game down pat. It might take a while, but I want to do it. It's a 146 non-split, and that is a base on balls to Pete Rose. So Rose runs down to first base in Pete Rose style on that leadoff walk. His steal rating is a 5. If he wanted to try to get the lead, Espinosa is a 6 hold, so he has to be 16 or higher. So he needs 11 or more to get the lead. And he gets an 11. He gets the lead. So how about that? Pete Rose will get the lead because of his steal rating being a 5 and that 7 being a 12, and that takes over the the 11 plus the 5 gives him the 16, and that's what Espinosa was with the hole plus 10 was 16. So now we're going to go all 3 dice in the catcher arm. Well, the catcher arm is John Stearns, and Stearns' arm is a 5 right there, 5. So 15 is the number to beat because you add 10 to that. So 15. So we need all 3 dice plus the speed here of a 3 to be 15 or higher. So these 3 dice have to add up to 12 or higher. And they do not. So Pete Rose gets caught stealing. Wasn't even close. Stearns threw him out big time. So Rose tried to get aggressive, and it cost him. Caught stealing as the shortstop, Doug Flynn, put on the tag. 1 down. Base is now clear. Here is Griffey. 416. 416, and that's on the split chance against a righty. 416 is a ground ball to second. That's 2 away. 2 down. And with the bases clear and 2 outs, it's Little Joe stepping to the plate. Little Joe, his first time up, threw a walk. Scored on Foster's homer. That is a 134, and that's going to be a fly ball to right field. That's going to end the inning. So nothing doing for the Reds. We go to the bottom of the third. Still 2-0 Cincinnati. Espinosa will be leading off for the Mets. And if we look at his eye and contact rating, oops, I got the wrong card up there. I had rating-based defense. I don't want that. I want the pitcher hitting card. What was I doing? Pitcher hitting card. So we look at the contact and eye rating. Contact's a 3, eye rating's a 2. Contact's a 3, eye rating's a 2 if we get to his card. Has to be in the 300s or 400s to get to his card. And we do, 444. How about that? So 444, we're looking at the eye rating. And again, Espinosa's eye rating is a 2. So we're still in this column here, and 444 falls in right here, F3, F5. Let's see here. If he's a lefty batter, then he uses the F5. But since he's a righty, it's an F. It's going to pop it up to first base, basically, is what he's going to do. Pops up to first. Dreesen makes the catch, 1 away. And here's Lenny Randall. That's a 486 against a left-hander on the splits. That's a deep fly to center. That's 2 away. 2 down. And since you're in the chat, RJL, and you are a Met fan, when it comes to any kind of managing, I will defer to you. I will give you first dibs on pitching changes, pinch hitters, stuff like that. Just like I will do Brian B for the Reds. So I'll flip it over to each one of you guys since you're both in there and both fans of these teams. Here's Maddox. 378, and that's going to be a non-split. 378 is a 6-3 ground out to end the inning. So that's going to do it for the Mets. They go quickly, 1, 2, 3, and they're making Capilla look like Tom Seaver out there. That's for sure. We go to the top of the fourth. Still 2-0. Favor the Reds. Espinosa back out. His stamina is a 5. Now, Capilla's stamina was only a 2 as a starter. That's kind of weird. So that means he was already in the thing here, but the Mets got nothing, so he hasn't had any fatigue against him yet. I got to be careful about that because I didn't realize he was such a low stamina guy. So got to be careful about that going forward. Or anything he gets is going to add 10 to the ballpark rolls. So I got to be careful about that. All right, here is Foster. 598. We're at the fielding check, but that blue 8 is going to be almost impossible to deal with. We're looking at the right fielder, Elliot Maddox. Elliot Maddox in right field. That's an 8. 598. That's a single for George Foster, as Elliot Maddox couldn't get to it. So Foster is 2 for 2. 2 for 2 for Foster. And that will send up Dan Dreesen. 542, got another fielding chance. This one's much better with the blue, too. It might be a double play. We're looking at the second baseman. In this case, that's Bobby Valentine. And a 542 is a 4-6-3 double play. So how about that? They turn 2 on the Reds and turn that double play. Dreesen hits into the tailor-made 4-6-3. 2 quick outs for Concepcion. .376 against a right hand. Well, it's a non-split. .376 is a 5-3 ground out to end the inning. So nothing doing for the Reds here in the 4th. We go to the bottom of the 4th, still 2-0. Brian B. says Manny Sarmiento is loosening in the Reds bullpen, getting ready, because you never know how far Capilla can go. So let's get Sarmiento out here and get him ready. Again, you've got Bear, Bourbon, Murray, Sarmiento, and Tomlin, your available pitchers. So there is Sarmiento. He would be loosening in the bullpen. Number 45, Manny Sarmiento. He's loosening in the pen. Coming up for the Mets, it'll be Steve Henderson to lead it off. Now, the pitcher spot is batting third next inning, Brian B., so keep that in mind. If you want to do a double switch, if he gets in trouble, we can do that. Or if we get him, coax him through the 4th inning, I can take him out after that, and you can pick your pinch hitter and bring in Sarmiento after that, whatever you prefer. Here's Henderson. 262, and that is against a right-hander for Capilla. 262 is a strikeout. How about that? Capilla gets his first strikeout of the ball game. Maybe Capilla needed the Mets to make him pitch better. I don't know. Here's Montañez. 674 turns to a 684 at home, and a 684 turns into a single. Base hit for Willie Montañez. How about that? Montañez with the single. Brings up John Stearns, who doubled his last time up, or his only time up, I should say. Sarmiento is ready in the bullpen when needed. So, but again, he hits third, so we could do a double switch if you wanted to, or however you wanted to play it. Brian B., you want Capilla to pitch to Stearns, I assume? It's 1 out, runner at first. He's gone 3 1/3 so far. He has given up a hit, so that's going to be an added 10 now to the ballpark going forward. Let him go. Okay, here's Stearns. 656, but it's going to add 10 to make it 666, and then 10 from Capilla, 676. 676 is going to be a wild pitch. So Capilla uncorks one, and that'll move the runner Montañez up to second base. Takes away the double play, for one thing. We get a 4-11, and that's against a lefty, and that's a walk. So Capilla issues the walk to Stearns. First and second with 1 out. And coming up is switch hitter Lee Mazzilli. Mazzilli popped to second his first time up. If I don't hear anything, Brian B., I'm going to let him keep going. Sarmiento is ready if needed. Here's Capilla to Mazzilli. That's a 288. And Mazzilli switcher batting right-handed. 288 is a deep drive to left field. Mazzilli's power is a 7. This could be problems. A 7 and an 11. That's an 18. Deep drive to left. 18 is a home run for Lee Mazzilli. Maybe went one batter too many. I don't know. But Mazzilli just cranks a 3-run home run. And I can hear RJL now saying stadium cheers. Yay. I don't do it like he does it. That's his gig, not mine. But it's a 3-run home run off the bat of Lee Mazzilli. Lee Mazzilli had 16 home runs on the replay, but he got a favorable roll on the ballpark card. It's now 3-2 Mets in the lead. If he can get 2 outs, see if he can get 2 outs. Okay, here's Bobby Valentine. He is getting to the bottom of the order, so that helps. 6-13, though. Now we're going to add a bunch of stuff to him. He had a run. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 6. Well, that's 60 points. So that's 673, maybe 683, I think. 683, I think. See if I'm telling this right, folks. Capilla is tired. So he's given up a single, a walk, and a home run. To me, that's 30 points right there. And if you do one for every run, that's 60 points. Plus the 10 for being the home batter, that'd be 70 points. Or you're saying add 40, Captain. Runs don't count. Okay, runs don't count. Okay, that's what I needed to know. Runs don't count. So we're going to add 40. So it's 653. So that's going to be a little bit better. 653 is just a 5-3 ground out. So that's not quite as damning as the other one was. So Valentine grounds out for out number 2. Now he just has to get Doug Flynn, number 8 hitter. That's a 128, and that's going to be a redirect to a 328. 328 is an infield single for Doug Flynn. Espinosa is coming up to bat, so we can probably see if Capilla can get past Espinosa, who has a 2-eye and a 3 contact rating. But it's a fielding check, and it's not a good one with that blue 8. So the first baseman is who we're checking for the Reds. That is Dreesen. Dreesen on a 583 or 538 rather. 538 is a single to right field. Single to right field. And with 2 outs, they're not going to challenge. They're going to just let him stay there. But it's a base hit by the pitcher, Espinosa. I don't know if that's the death knell on Capilla or whether you want to try to get that 3rd out, Brian B. You let me know. Lenny Randall is your batter. Randall has fly to center twice against Capilla. One more. Okay, Lenny Randall. That's a 562. This should get him out of the inning. Ground ball to short. Concepcion with a 2 there should be fine, you would think. 562 is a 6-3 ground out. That's all they needed. And they get out of the inning. 3 runs, and that's pretty much going to do it for Mr. Capilla. He's going to go 4 innings. And that's going to be it. And he's going to hope his team can get him off the hook for the loss. 3-2 Mets now as we go to the 5th. And do it for the Reds. It'll be Geronimo, Warner, and a pinch hitter for Capilla. So looking at the bench, they have Lum as a lefty, Collins as a switch. The other 3 are righty. You want Auerbach to hit. Okay. So it's going to be Geronimo first, then Warner, and then Auerbach. All right. That's what you want. That's what you get. Rick Auerbach, 327 hitter on the season. So we'll sneak him in here behind Warner. So Geronimo will do the leading off here in the top of the 5th. Geronimo flew to center his first chance. There we go. So we're going to scratch off Auerbach as being used. And are we still doing Sarmiento, I assume, in the bottom of the fifth? Is that correct? You're still going with Sarmiento, even though they're now trailing? You still want to use Sarmiento? Is that where we're going in the pen? Yes. Okay. We'll scratch off Sarmiento then to make sure he's denoted as being used. All right. Here is Espinosa to Geronimo. 397. And that's a non-split, but that's a home run. Cesar Geronimo just cranks the home run off of Mr. Espinosa to tie the score. And RJL, if you want to do kaboom for that, you certainly can. If you want to do stadium groans, you can do that too. But there it is, 397. Home run, Cesar Geronimo. And we are tied at 3 apiece. And Capilla is off the hook. He cannot take the loss now. He cannot be saddled with a loss. So now, Don Warner, the batter. That is a 675. 675 is going to be a wild pitch. So that's just ball one. Nothing going on there. Just a ball one. Redo. 462 against a right-hander. That's a hit by pitch. So how about that? Now we got a warning. The umpires have issued a warning. A hit by pitch after a home run automatically dictates a warning. Next hit by pitch is an ejection automatically. Next hit by pitch is an ejection. No question about it. Well, Cesar's range here is a 6, so I'm not sure, how that relates to the inside pitch versus whatever, but they gave him a decent rating, I would think. All right, here's the pinch hitter, Rick Auerbach. No relation to longtime Boston Celtic with the cigar Auerbach, but red. No, although it is Cincinnati Reds, it could be Reds Auerbach. How about that? You want to get extreme. All right, here is Auerbach. Espinosa to Auerbach. That's a 356. And that's a single, infield single for Rick Auerbach. So how about that? The managing of Brian B. pulls the guy that gets a pinch hit. First and second, nobody out. RJL, if you want me to get a bullpen arm going, let me know and I will. Espinosa's stamina is a 5, so he's still good to go stamina-wise. He's just having issues, apparently. All right, so Auerbach is aboard. Here's Pete Rose. 284, and Rose switch hitter batting left. 284 is a deep drive to right field for Pete Rose. His power is a 2. So not a whole lot of power, but you never know. That's a 18. Added to the 2 is a 20, and that's gone. Pete Rose just hit a home run, a 3-run bomb for Pete Rose. And I think Espinosa is about ready to exit, but the bullpen has to get going first. But look at it again. Pete Rose, a power of 2 plus the 18 gives him a 20, and that is gone. Pete Rose, home run. And the Reds started the inning down 3-2. They now have what seems to be a commanding lead. Of course, the pitching, you never know about the pitching. But after all that is said and done, we are looking now at a 6-3 lead for the Reds. 3-run home run from Pete Rose. Mets bullpen is active. And if RGL doesn't give me a name, I'll just pick somebody based on who's coming up. We got Griffey, Morgan, and Foster, and Dreesen. So 3 out of the next 4 are left-handed. They have 2 lefty relievers. They have Bob Myrick or Myrick, however it's pronounced, and Siebert. I don't know if anything... if anybody has any suggestions one way or the other, I'll look at the cards and see who might be the best option. But you would think a lefty would be the best option at this point. Both these cards are PDFs because he didn't get many innings pitched. Siebert a 5.14, Myrick a 3.28. So I'm leaning to Myrick, although Siebert has more games pitched. but his batting average against lefties is really bad, whereas Myrick, as a lefty specialist, holds lefties to a 118 average. So I'm leaning towards Myrick right here. So Myrick is going to come into the ball game and take the place of Espinosa. Pitcher spot's a long way away, so there's no need to double switch. But Bob, Myrick, or Myrick, you can let me know how it's pronounced, how it's supposed to be pronounced. When I was a little kid, I used to call him Myrick all the time, but I'm looking at it again thinking maybe it's supposed to be Myrick, but I don't know. I'm not a Mets aficionado, so I don't know. But he's in. Whoever he is, he's in. He's coming in to pitch against these left-handers. Myrick. Okay, so it's M-Y, like yours and mine. Myrick. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. I was thinking it's probably Myrick because as a kid I was calling him Myrick, and I'm sure that was wrong. So we'll go with Myrick. He's in the game against Griffey. And we get a 6-10. 6-10 is going to be a strikeout. So how about that? Myrick puts down Griffey on strikes to start his outing and try to get some control of this game. Here's little Joe, another lefty on lefty. 391, that's a non-split, and 391 is a deep fly to center field. Out number 2. And here's Foster. Foster has homered and singled in this game. That's a 595. We're looking at the right fielder, Maddox. 595, and that's going to be a deep fly to right field to end the inning. So that's going to do it for the Mets, but it's productive 4-run inning to take a 6-3 lead into the bottom of the 5th. Now, Brian B., you've got some managing to do here. Foster was the cleanup hitter and the last hitter. I'm assuming there's going to be no double switch because you'd have to take out either Rose, Griffey, Morgan, or Foster to double switch. So I'm assuming there's not going to be a straight change with Sarmiento batting in the 9 position. I'm assuming that's what it is. Yes, okay, based on where they are. So Manny Sarmiento, the right-hander, is going to come into the ball game. He will bat in the number 9 position. And he's going to come in with a 6-3 lead. How about that? And since Capilla didn't go the 5 innings, Sarmiento, if he pitches well, could be the winner of record. We'll have to wait and see. He's going to face Maddox, Henderson, and Montañez. Heart of the order for the Mets. Numbers 2, 3, and 4 in the order for the Mets. Oh, there's Mr. Gardner. You're an expert at this game too, Mr. Gardner, so you can correct me if I do something wrong. Sarmiento, 438. And that's Maddox against a right-hander. 438 is a strikeout. Would have been a walk against a lefty, but it's a strikeout here. So Maddox with the K. And so far on the first batter, Brian B. is good with that Sarmiento move. Here's Henderson. 575. I'm sorry, 557. That could be trouble for the Reds. 557, third baseman, Pete Rose. I know he's not that good. So a 557 is going to be a single to left field for Steve Henderson. Henderson with a 1-out single. And down 6-3. I don't think the Mets are going to be looking to try to steal. So they will just hold him there. Here is Montañez. And that's a 606, but the home team's batting makes it a 616. And a 616 is a pop out to second base. So 2 down. Two outs, runner at first, for John Stearns. He has doubled and walked, but that was against Capilla, the lefty, not against Sarmiento, the righty. Hello, Colin. Good to see you. We get a 632, make it 642, but that's still going to be a 3-6 ground out. But with 2 outs, realistically, the first baseman would just step on the bag. So Dreesen's going to step on the bag to end the inning. And at the end of 5, it is the Reds 6 and the Mets 3. So when Mazzilli hit the 3-run homer, In the bottom of the fourth, it was looking good for the Mets, but then all of a sudden, Geronimo homers, and Pete Rose hits a 3-run homer, and things have changed pretty quickly. So Myrick is back out. Let's check his fatigue inning. Yep, he's going to be subject to fatigue now, so we keep an eye on him. Right-handed action is in the Mets bullpen. They do have right-handed action in their bullpen, and they have some guy named Marty Cornejo. Marty Cornejo is loosening in the Reds bullpen. 4-2, 3 saves, and a 2.45 earned run average. So Marty Cornejo is loosening in the pen for the Mets in case Myrick gets in trouble or gets tired or both. So here's Dreesen getting to a double play his last time up. 318 for Dreesen is a strikeout. So Myrick continues to pitch well. He's retired all 4 he has faced, with 2 of them by strikeouts. And here's Concepcion. That's a 484. Concepcion against a lefty. 484 is a deep fly to center field for out number 2. Now Myrick has retired all 5 he has faced. This will be it for Myrick, though, because he's scheduled to bat 4th next inning. I'm sure they'll probably pinch hit for him if it gets to that. Here's Geronimo, lefty on lefty. 531, and that's going to be an easy play for the first baseman, Montañez. On a 5-3-1, that would be a double play, but nobody's on base, just a 3 unassisted to end the inning. So nothing doing for the Reds in the 6th. Probably going to be it for Myrick. He went 2 innings. I don't think they can push him any further, even if he doesn't come up to bat. That's going to be it for Myrick. He's going to go 2 innings. Bob Myrick is going to go 2 innings. Sarmiento will be starting his 2nd inning of work, maintaining this 6-3 lead. And Sarmiento will be facing Mazzilli, Valentine, and Flynn if anybody gets on a pinch hitter for Myrick. So Lee Mazzilli, and then Cornejo would come in to pitch in the top of the 7th. Sarmiento, 642. Home team's batting 652. 652 is going to be a 5-3 ground out, so nothing bad there for the Reds as Sarmiento takes care of Mazzilli. Brings up Valentine, Bobby Valentine. 206 for Valentine. That's going to be a redirect to a 406. 406 is a walk, so Bobby Valentine draws the walk on the redirect. Sarmiento is not going to be fatigued until the following inning, but he is set to bat 2nd next inning, so this is probably it for Sarmiento. This 1 inning here is probably going to do it. Barring a double play, we will have a pinch hitter for Myrick. And it looks like Ed Kranepool was probably picked up a bat. Hello, Mr. Utah Mike. RJL, if you want somebody other than Kranepool to pinch hit, if you want Beauclair or Hodges or somebody else to pinch hit, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to go with Kranepool. You can let me know in the comments if you want to supersede that and go to somebody else. That's a 649, but home team batting 659. 659 is a 6-4 fielder's choice. So Flynn is your new runner at first base, but now there are 2 outs on the 6-4 fielder's choice. And now a pinch hitter is due up. Ed Kranepool is going to be your pinch hitter for the Mets. So we go to the Mets bench and pick up the venerable left-hander, Ed Kranepool. Only a 210 hitter, but he is left-handed. And probably on the Mets bench, there's probably not a whole lot there to choose from. Kind of know what you're getting with Kranepool. So Kranepool is your pinch hitter. Cornejo would be the new relief pitcher in the top of the 7th. So, due up. It will be Kranepool pinch hitting. Flynn at first. 2 outs. 6-3 game, bottom of the 6th. 349 for Kranepool Non-split, 3-4. Oh, we just missed a single. 356 would have been a single. That's a deep fly to center, and that's going to end the inning. So nothing doing there for the Mets. They go quietly. We go to the 7th, and the new pitcher is Cornejo for the Mets. Brian B., I'm assuming you want me to pinch hit for Sarmiento and bring in a pinch hitter, you can let me know those details while I get everything else ready to go with Marty Cornejo. He'll be facing Werner and then a pinch hitter, supposedly, for Sarmiento. And then Rose after that. So Brian B., if you're still listening or around, let's Marty bat. Let's see his fatigue. Okay, he is not fatigued because he's gone. He can go two innings before next inning. He starts his fatigue because his fatigue is a 2. He's gone 2 innings, so the next bottom of the 7th, he will start out fatigued. So I don't know if that means you want to let him keep going because he's pitching so well. If that's the case, we can do that. Not a problem. Right now, Don Warner will lead things off. And we are in the 7th inning, so my rule is now we can – all right, you want to hit for him. All right, would you like to have Lum or Collins? They are the 2 lefties or switch hitters. Or does it matter if the guy on first – Lum. Okay, so Mike Lum is going to pick up a bat and hit. Lum will pinch hit. He was a 267 hitter. He will pinch hit for Sarmiento and close the book on Sarmiento. He went 2 innings, and he's in line to get the win. So Lum is going to be your pinch hitter. Now, who's going to come in and pitch? Bourbon. I thought you didn't like Bourbon. All right, we'll have Bourbon. I was expecting you to say Murray, but that's okay. We can go with Bourbon, not a problem. All right, so Don Warner steps to the plate. He was hit by a pitch his last time up after the home run from Geronimo. Here's Cornejo, 366, non-split, and that's a strikeout. Warner strikes out to start the inning. And now the pinch hitter, Mike Lum. Mike Lum, the pinch hitter. See what he can do against Cornejo. 689. 689, and that is a single for Mike Lum. So look, 2 for 2 on pinch hittings is Brian B. So give your props to Brian B. He is 2 for 2 in the pinch hitting realm. Auerbach and now Lum both have hits. That'll bring up Pete Rose. Run on first and 1 out. Lum is no threat to steal. Cornejo, 182. And a 182 is a bloop single. Bloop single, so the runner can only go 1 base because with less than 2 outs, he had to wait to see if the ball was going to be caught. So how about that? Lum makes it to second. Pete Rose, a bloop single. And Rose now followed up his 3-run homer with a single. Puts runners at first and second with only 1 out. And Ken Griffey, your batter. Cornejo has to settle in. Hello, Thomas. Cornejo's got to get busy here. 156. And 156 is a walk. It's going to load the bases. So Cornholio not doing so good right now, as Gardner called him. Bases are loaded for Little Joe. But, man, do you bring in a lefty Siebert, who's not very good, or stick with Cornejo? I think they're going to go ahead and stick with Cornejo. The infield is in. They're not going to assume a double play on Little Joe. They're going to play in. Infield is in. Oh, bring in a lefty. Okay, RJL chimes in to bring in the other lefty, Siebert. So that's who's coming in for the Mets. That's going to be it for Cornholio. That's it for Cornholio. And Paul Siebert will be coming on. He's a PDF card because he didn't pitch that many innings. Did hold lefties to a 295 average, where Cornejo gave up a 327 to lefties. So maybe that's the saving move here. RGL, do you want to play for the double play or play in to get the force at the plate? You can let me know. I was going to play in, but if you want to play back for the DP, I'll be more than happy to adjust that. Play for the force play at the plate. Okay. Siebert to Morgan. Siebert to Morgan, bases loaded and 1 out. Morgan is 0 for 2 with a walk. That is a 646 from Morgan. 646. 646. The infield was in, so that means it's a base hit, single 2 stars or single 2 bases, because the infield was in. That's what the force. You're telling me force. I'm reading that to be that you're playing the infield in. So 646 is going to change this fielder's choice into a single 2 star, a single plus, which is going to score 2 runs. Runner on third scores, runner on second scores. 2-run single off the bat of Joe Morgan. Off the drawn in infield. Lum scores and Rose scores. Stopping at second is Griffey. But it's now 8-3. 8-3 ball game. And here's George Foster. So lefty on lefty didn't work quite as well as they wanted. Didn't get the role they wanted. Here's another one. 648, or 649 rather. 649. And that's a 4-6 fielder's choice. So that one does count for the out. Runner on second does go to third, but runner on first, Morgan is forced. Fielder's choice. Griffey goes to third. 2 outs now, but 2 are in. It's 8-3. And stepping to the plate is Dreesen. Lefty on lefty with Dreesen. It's a 4-12. Dreesen against the left-hander is a walk. That's going to load the bases. So Siebert still can't get out of it. Bases are loaded for Dave Concepcion, a right-hander. They have 2 arms left in the bullpen, Lockwood and Metzger. I don't know if you want to bring one of those guys in or see if Siebert can get this third out. You got to cover 2 more innings after this. Pitcher spot is a long way away, though, so no worry about it pinch hitting for the pitcher. So Concepcion, Siebert. I'm thinking about bringing in a right-hander in his place, probably Metzger, but if you want me to stick with Siebert, I will. You just let me know. Siebert is fatigued. Oh, because of the 0. Yeah, sure is. You know what? It's time to get Siebert out of there. It is definitely time to get Siebert out of there. So we're going to bring in Roger Metzger. More well-known, I think, pitching for the Padres. That's where I knew him from. Pitched some for the Cardinals, too, but I knew him for the Padres in the mid-70s. Late to mid-70s. So Butch Metzger is going to come on, and Siebert is done. So Metzger will be on. He is the 4th reliever used by the Mets. Skip Lockwood's the only one left in the bullpen. So Metzger pitching to Concepcion, and that's a 600, and that's going to be a 6-4-3 double play, but there's already 2 outs, so it's just going to be a 6-4 fielder's choice, and that will end the inning. But 2 runs come in for the Reds as they pile it on. Now, Brian B. I know we're bringing in Bourbon, but we're at the 7th spot in the batting order. So if you wanted to double switch for, say, Dreesen and put somebody else at first base, or double switch for somebody else, Concepcion, you can let me know, or else we'll just bat him 3rd in the order and maybe let him go 1 inning or whatever you want to do. But pitcher spot is now 3 batters away. So if you wanted me to double switch, put Lum at first base. Okay, that makes sense. So Lum will stay in the game to play first base and bat 9th. And the pitchers, Bourbon will now bat in the 5th position on this double switch. RJL, don't look. It's a double switch. Don't look. You don't want to look. It's a double switch. This is called managing, RJL. I know that's kind of a foreign term sometimes, but it is called managing. So Pedro Bourbon will come in and he will bat in the 5th position that was formerly held by Dreesen. Dreesen is out of the ball game now. And the pitcher spot, Lum will stay in at bat 9th. Staying to play first base and bat 9th is Mr. Lum. I can find out where I put his card. It's over here somewhere. Got to be over here somewhere. Just had it. What did I do with this card? It's got to be here. For some reason I can't find Mike Lum's card. I don't know why. It's over here somewhere. It's hidden behind something, I know. Oh, there it is. It was under the score sheet. That's why I couldn't find it. So Lum is going to bat 9th and stay in the game to play first base. He will be using his secondary fielding because he's normally listed here on the card as a center fielder. So he will be listing his secondary fielding, ratings-based defense. So I do have the ratings-based defense card in case he comes up for a fielding check. He will be going to that secondary rating. So it's going to be Geronimo, Warner, and Lum in the 8th inning for the Reds when that comes around. For the Mets, it's the top of the order. Lenny Randle will be facing Pedro Bourbon. And Bourbon. All right, so everything looks like it's pretty copacetic there. But it is the bottom of the 7th, and you know what that means. We are looking at take me out to the ball game. And I'm going to stretch with everybody. It's been over an hour, and we're just in the 7th inning stretch because of all these runs. So I want to stretch with everybody else, and you can feel free to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." All right. That will do it for the 7th inning stretch. We will continue. Don't forget, tonight is the review show from the 1983 season for RJL on his Inside Pitch / Fall Classic replay, 1983, and the reveal for what the new season is going to be. RJL, can people still vote, or is the voting closed, or they have up until the show starts? I don't know what the cutoff. I don't remember what the cutoff was for that. If there's still time for somebody to vote that has not voted yet. Until the show starts. You got until what, 8 o'clock or whatever time it starts? Is it 8 o'clock? Let me see here. I'm trying to think if it's 8. I think it's usually 7:30 to 8 o'clock, somewhere in that neighborhood. But if you have not voted yet, go ahead and get your votes in this afternoon just to be on the safe side so you don't miss out. All right, so Lenny Randle will be facing the new pitcher Pedro Bourbon. Capilla went 4, Sarmiento went 2, and now Bourbon takes over. He's got a fatigue of 1, so he can pitch this inning no problem. Next inning, you got to worry about the fatigue. So your choices are 34, 1945, 1999, and 2021. And if 1999 wins, I guess we'll party like Prince. So here's Bourbon to Randall. It's a 456 right-handed. 456 is a 4-3 ground out. And Lenny Randall is out of there, 1 away. What I forgot to mention, and I normally mention it, and I forgot to, but at the 7th inning stretch, next week, NBC Game of the Week, we will still stay in the National League. We'll be at the stadium in front of the Three Rivers, as it will be the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates from Three Rivers Stadium. Pirates and the Dodgers. That'll be coming up next Saturday on the NBC Game of the Week in season ticket baseball. So Randall is out, and here's Elliot Maddox. Hello, David. Good to see you. 4-16 for Maddox against the right-hander. That's a walk. So Elliot Maddox draws a 1-out walk. And that'll send us, and of course, down 8-3. Nobody's going to try to steal, that's for sure. Don't run yourself out of an inning. Here's Steve Henderson. That's a 126, and that's going to be a fly to right field. 2 down for Montañez. The Reds bullpen has definitely done the job to this point. 478 right hand against a right-hander. 478 is a deep fly to right. Need a 489 to get the deep drive, but couldn't get it done. And an easy inning for Mr. Pedro Bourbon. So we go to the top of the 8th. Still 8-3. Butch Metzger back out. He is now subject to fatigue, so we'll keep an eye on him. Lockwood's the only one left in the bullpen for the Mets. So they like to get Metzger at least through this inning, maybe use Lockwood in the 9th if they have to. We'll wait and see. Here's Geronimo. Hello, Double D. Good to see you. 232, and that's against the lefty Geronimo. 2-3-2 is a single. Would have been an out versus a righty, but against a lefty, it's a single. So Cesar Geronimo gets himself a leadoff single. And again, no trying to steal with the score being 8-3. We're not going to, do anything weird like that. We're going to do what I think they would do in real world. Here's Don Warner. 292. Metzger against a righty. That's a deep drive to left field. Warner's power, though, is only a 0. So he has to add up the numbers and see what he can get. Probably can get a base hit out of it, though, you would think. That's an 8. So that will be a single. That will be a single. That's a single. So base hit by Warner. That puts 2 on with nobody out for the pinch hitter, Mike Lum. Mike Lum is coming up to hit. Mets don't have any lefties in the pen. They've used them both already. But they start out with back-to-back singles here in the top of the 8th. And the pinch hitter, Mike Lum, is your batter. They could use a double play right about now. 580. They don't get a double play. It's a fly to center, but the blue 0, that's a guaranteed out. Center fielder in this case is Mazzilli. And Lee Mazzilli on his card, a 580 is an F8. Now, if there was a run on third, he would have to try to score, but there is no runner on third. So everybody just holds right where they are. 1 away for Pete Rose. Now a double play will get him out of the inning. It's a 178, and a 178 is a bloop single to first. So with less than 2 outs, the runner had to hold at second and make sure it wasn't going to be caught. So it's bases loaded. Pete Rose, his 3rd hit of the game. It loads the bases with 1 out for Ken Griffey. Metzger trying to hang in there. .247 against a left-hander, and that is a deep drive to right field on a .247. Griffey's power is a 3. So we'll figure out what we can do here. We're going to add these 2 dice to the 3 on a deep drive to right field. We're adding 3 to the 12 to make it a 15. That's a fly ball to right deep, but the runner on second has to challenge. Well, the bases are loaded, so I don't see where the runner has to challenge. I believe that's a sacrifice fly automatically, and the runner on second has to challenge going to third. So scoring on the sacrifice fly is Geronimo for out number 2. I don't know how realistic it is to have Don Warner try to challenge on this, so I'm tempted to override that rule just based on game score of 9-3. I don't know why he'd want to challenge that, but we'll play it out the way they say to play it. Elliot Maddox is your right fielder, and his arm is a 7. Werner, the catcher, doesn't run very well at all. Obviously, as a catcher, you wouldn't think. Werner runs, his speed is a 3. So we got a 7 versus a 3, challenging the runner. Challenging the outfield arm, I should say. So he's got to beat 17. He starts with a 3. These 3 have to add up to 14 or higher to make it. And they do not. He is out going to third. So it's going to end up being a sacrifice fly, a double play, but the run does count. The run scores before the out is recorded. But it will technically be a double play, as Werner is out 9-5 Dolly Parton style. But the run does score, making it a 9-3 ball game. And that's going to be it for Metzger. They're going to bring in Lockwood to pitch the 9th. But 9-3 now, in favor of the Reds. Like I said, I don't think that was very realistic to do that, but that's what the card said to do, so that's the way I played it. So Bourbon back out for his second inning of work. He is fatigued, technically, because he only had a 1 before, so we'll keep an eye on his fatigue factor. Let's see. He is set to bat third next inning, so we'll see how that plays out. Right now it's Stearns, Mazzilli, and Valentine for the Mets. Although the Mets could hit for Valentine and probably will. Probably use Beauclair to hit for Valentine, most likely. You want Kennedy to third base for Rose. All right, let's get Kennedy. Junior Kennedy. Where are you, Junior Kennedy? There you are. There's Kennedy. Now, he'd be using his alternate fielding as well. What is Rose's fielding? Rose, decent fielder, but if you want to switch him out, we'll switch him out. So we'll bring in Kennedy to play third base for Rose. That leaves Bench and Collins as the position players remaining for the Reds. So we will have Kennedy taking over at third base for Pete Rose here in the bottom of the 8th. No, if no difference. Well, I don't know if it's a difference or not because we're using the secondary things for for Kennedy. He's on a secondary rating. His fielding, though, is a 7 at third, so that's pretty good. So that's probably a good move to do that. I think you're right there, Captain. I think they did that just to appease the New York audience. And plus the Reds, they're a draw as well. But all right, here is Bourbon against Stearns. Remember, Bourbon is subject to fatigue now. 383, non-split. That's a 5-3 ground out, 1 away. As Stearns is retired. And that will send us to Lee Mazzilli. Bruce Beauclair has picked up a bat, and he will hit for Valentine next. That's a 327, non-split again, and that's a strikeout for Lee Mazzilli. Mazzilli is out of there. So coming on to pinch hit would be Bruce Beauclair. I used to call him Boyclair when I was younger because that I was there, but I've obviously learned later on it's pronounced Beauclair. So Beauclair will take over for the light-hitting Valentine. He's also a lefty off the bench, which is another reason to do that. Bruce Beauclair coming on and playing at second base in the top of the ninth will be Joel Youngblood. But Bruce Beauclair will come on and get the pinch hitting assignment for the Mets. And then Youngblood will take over at second base. So Beauclair and then Youngblood defensively. Let's see what Beauclair can do. He was a .224 hitter in real world, but he is left-handed. So playing the percentages. .563. That's to the shortstop Concepcion with a blue die of 3. That should be easy for Concepcion, and it is. .563. It's a 6-3 ground out. That will end the inning. 1-2-3 goes Bourbon. He keeps his full endurance. He is scheduled to come up and bat this inning, though, so not sure if you want to try to finish the game with Bourbon, Brian B., or whether you want to bring in Doug Baer to wrap it up, or Murray, or Tomlin, whichever you prefer. The Mets now will go with Lockwood. They use everybody out of the bullpen as Lockwood is going to come on and pitch. And let's see here. They will also do a double switch because the pitcher spot's coming up shortly. So they will double switch. Take Stearns out and put Hodges in to catch. Hodges will bat ninth and catch. And the pitcher, Lockwood, will hit fifth right in front of Mazzilli. So that leaves Grieve and Ferrer, or whatever his name is, as the only bench players remaining. All the bullpen guys have been used. So Ron Hodges will come in and catch and bat ninth. And coming in to pitch will be Skip Lockwood. Skip Lockwood will come on and pitch for the Mets. Assuming I can find his card. It's probably buried under the score sheet like everything else was. There he is. Skip Lockwood is in. So Lockwood will be facing scheduled hitters Morgan, Foster, and Bourbon, unless we pinch hit for Bourbon. Hodges bats ninth. John Stearns is out of the game. John Stearns comes out. And batting ninth is Ron Hodges. Get in right behind Doug Flynn. All right, so we go to the top of the ninth. Collins to pinch hit for the Reds. Speedy Dave Collins. At least he used to be speedy. I guess he's still speedy. Not that great. He's only given a 3 for speed, so maybe he lost some of his speed from earlier on. I don't know. He's only 25, so he ought to be fast, but maybe he hasn't developed the speed yet. I don't know. So Collins will pinch hit, but he's not going to lead off. He's going to bat third this inning. Collins will pinch hit. It's going to be Morgan, Foster, and Collins. Morgan, Foster, and Collins. For those of you who find names and words to be humorous, I don't have it printed out here, but I have set it up already. When the Boston Red Sox come up on the NBC Game of the Week, and I have my lineup boards and my benches, we have Bob Montgomery and George Scott back to back. So if you're an old Star Trek fan, you know Montgomery Scott was the name of the engineer on Star Trek. So the combination of Bob Montgomery and George Scott, you'd have that Montgomery Scott as you read down the list. Hello, Mr. Gudeman. Good to see you. 2 o'clock, Tigers and Twins. Sounds great. Stratomatic, of course. So Joe Morgan will be facing Skip Lockwood. It'll be Morgan, Foster, and the pinch hitter Dave Collins. And then Brian B., did you give me a pitcher to bring in? It's not a save situation, obviously. I could bring in Murray if you like, or Tomlin. The Mets have up in their order, they will be using Flynn, Hodges, and Randall. So we have righty, lefty, and switch. So it probably doesn't matter when it goes that way, but that's who's coming up. So you can let me know in the bottom of the inning who you want to have to pitch. Right now, Morgan, 310 for Morgan, and that's a strikeout right there. Morgan struck out by Skip Lockwood. Reds in firm control, leading 9-3. Here's George Foster. 409 against a right-hander. 409 is a walk. So Mr. Foster gets his walk. His 2-run homer in the first kind of set the tone for the game, that we wouldn't get some runs. All right, here's the pinch hitter, Dave Collins, pinch hitting for Bourbon. Okay, so Mike Tomlin will be the left-hander, will be the new pitcher for the Reds. That'll leave Murray and Bear as their bullpen remaining. Here's Collins, 682. 682, that's a single plus. So that means the runner on first will go to third. To use the Stratomatic vernacular, that's a single star. So runners are at the corners now as the pinch hitter Dave Collins gets a hit, and Brian B is 3 for 3 on his pinch hitting choices. So give it up for Brian B. He's 3 for 3 on pinch hitting choices. All three of his pinch hitters have gotten base hits. Not like that other channel. All right, so runners are at the corners with 1 out for Concepcion. Infield at this point, I don't think it matters. They're going to play back for the double play. They need outs. One more run is not really going to make a difference. 134, and that's a redirect to a 334. 334 is an infield single, so it doesn't matter how you played it. It's an infield single for Concepcion, and the Reds make it 10-3. Even the Mets closer can't do anything. It's just a painful thing for the Mets, that's all. Here's Geronimo. And that is a 299. 299, and that is a deep drive to right field. Geronimo's power is a 3. We're going to add the 2 D10s to the 3 and see what happens. Did it say deep drive to right field? Yes. Looking at this column, we're going to add the 2 D10s to the power rating of Geronimo, which is a 3. So we add 3 plus to get what we get. That's a 4. So we're going to have 7 total. That's a single. That is a single. It had R2 question mark, which means the run on second could have the opportunity to try to advance. But with the score being what it is, they're just going to do station to station. No sense being silly. I mean, no use adding more insult to injury here. So here's Werner. Bases loaded and 1 out. Infield still looking for that double play. 501. That's a rare play. How about that? That's all we needed was a rare play. So we go to the rare playbook, and the bases are loaded. So in the rare playbook, when the bases are loaded, and there's a 1 out, so we're going to be looking at page 39. Page 39. But it said bases loaded, so am I missing something here? Bases loaded, and 1 out. So I'm assuming I use page 39. That's the best way I can read that. So we're going to go to page 39 of the rare playbook and roll the dice and see what we get. Page 39 of the rare playbook, and we're going to roll these dice and see what comes up. We get a 178. And I'm going to scam likely coming in. How about that? Get rid of that real quick. All right, 178 as above, 100 to 159, but ball is hit to center field. All right, so it's a sinking line drive caught by the center fielder. The center fielder may double up the runner on second by successfully challenging their speed rating. That says first and second. That's not bases loaded, so something's not right here. I got to find the one that has the bases loaded. Where's the bases loaded one? There should be one for bases loaded. What page would that be on? There's got to be a bases loaded one here, or do we just use the regular one for bases loaded? Can somebody give me some direction here? Because bases are loaded, and the only one I see with bases loaded is right here, which is telling me page 39, but that's first and second, not bases loaded. So I don't know if I should be using a different page. Do I go back and use this page? Because I don't see anything specifically that says bases loaded on the rare play chart. Captain or somebody else, can you let me know which page I should be using here? It's bases loaded, 1 out, and a rare play. And this is the page I've turned to. So I don't know where to go from here. Don't know which page I should be turning to. I'm just going to go through the book and see if I can figure it out. If I can't figure it out, I'm just going to wave the play off and do something differently, because it really, at this point, it doesn't matter. Let's see. Do I have anything with bases loaded? You think 330 to 33, which is the main page. Okay, so I'm going to go with the main page, and I rolled 178. All right, so 178 says hit by pitch. Batter is hit by pitch. If there's already been a hit by pitch in this game by either team, this triggers a brawl. Batter and pitcher are both ejected. There had been a hit by pitch earlier on, so we do have a brawl. And with the score being what it is, it doesn't surprise me we have a brawl. But it is going to be a brawl. And unfortunately, we're going to have a position player finish the game, because that was the last pitcher the Mets had. Lockwood, he's been ejected. So Lockwood's been ejected. So has Werner. So we're going to need Johnny Bench to come in and pitch and catch the bottom of the 9th. But it is a hit by pitch. The run will score, but Lockwood has been ejected. Lockwood has been ejected. So is Werner. Werner has also been ejected on the brawl. And that means Johnny Bench will come in and catch in place of Werner. But the run scores on the hit by pitch. Now, I got to use a position player to get these last 2 outs, because I used all the pitchers and Lockwood is ejected. So I have no other pitchers on the bench for the Mets. So it looks like Ben Grieve is going to get a chance to pitch for the Mets. Looks like Ben Grieve is going to get a chance as a position player. And this is something new for this game that I have not experienced, so I don't know exactly how it's played. Tom Grieve, not Ben Grieve. I don't know where I got Ben Grieve from. Tom Grieve. Tom Grieve will pinch hit. Will be the pitcher, I should say. But the question is, how do you do that? I'm sure there's something in the rule book for a position player pitching. I just got to find it. If someone can give me an updated page for where that would be to make things faster, that would be appreciated. Or use a starter with the relief rating. Well, I could do that, but I mean, realistically, they're going to be pitching shortly. But I guess we could do that. Maybe that's the better way to do it. I'll find a pitcher that has a relief rating. Somebody that hasn't, that's scheduled to pitch in a couple days, maybe. So let's see who that could be. Craig Swan does not have relief rating. Pat Zachary does not have relief rating. Mark Bruhart doesn't have a relief rating. I'm not sure. It says use a starter, but I don't know which starter to use, because these are the 3 starters I show available on the team. And I don't show anybody else on the team. Jerry Kuzma, but he doesn't have a relief rating either. Although he does, actually, no, he did relieve some games, did Kuzma. So does Swan. He had 1 relief appearance. He's not rated. He doesn't say relief rating, but he does have a relief appearance. If you look at his card, he pitched 29 games, 28 were starts. So obviously 1 was a relief appearance. So we're going to have to go with Craig Swan. I don't know what else to do with it. Just go with Craig Swan. At this point, does it really matter with the score being what it is? I don't think anything is going to be this is so much chaotic that it doesn't matter anyway. What happens when you get the pitiful Mets in a game, you're going to get this. So Craig Swan is in to face Mike Lum. Bases loaded and still only 1 out. 439. Lum against the right-hander of 4-3-9 is a 4-3 double play. So Swan comes in and throws 1 pitch and gets a double play. Go figure. But 2 runs come in. It is now 11-3 Reds as we go to the ninth, bottom of the ninth. But Craig Swan did what he needed to do, I guess. And Dave Tomlin will come in and pitch definitely. This is definitely ultra mop-up duty right here. Dave Tomlin for the Reds. Ultimate mop-up duty. Capilla went 4, Sarmiento went 2, Bourbon went 2, and now Tomlin will go 1. I'm assuming Sarmiento should get the win. I'm guessing that he would. Maybe it's official score prerogative. I don't know, but I'm assuming he's going to get the win on this. So it's going to be Flynn, Hodges, and Randall due up for the Mets here in the bottom of the ninth. Hey, Triple G. 544, that's a fielding check. 544. And that is going to be the new third baseman. Junior Kennedy. And now I've got to look at ratings-based defense because he's not rated for third as his primary position. He's rated over here. So we have a 544. So 4, his range is exceeded here. So let's see here. Ratings-based defense is good practice for me, actually. All right, the blue die, which is a 4. Let's see here. If it's less than the arm, we got a double play. It's not less than the arm. If it's less than the range, then we got a 5-3 ground out. It's not less than the range. If it's less than the fielding, we got a single. So this is a single. His fielding's a 7. That's a 4. So it's a single, not an error, because his 7 fielding is higher than this blue 4. So I'm assuming I read that correctly. That is a base hit for Doug Flynn. Base hit for Mr. Flynn. And if you're curious, Pete Rose would have had the same thing. 544 would have been a thing here. Wait a minute. 544, second baseman, not third baseman. What am I doing? Duh, it's Morgan. I was looking at the wrong position. 544 is still going to be a single against Joe Morgan. So it's a single either way you go. I was just looking at the wrong position. But it is going to be a single. It's been a long game, so give me a break. It's a single for Doug Flynn. He's in like Flynn, and here's Ron Hodges. Bottom of page 14 on position players. Good. I'll keep that in mind. 669, but the home team is batting, so it's 679. You add 10 to that. 679, and that's a bloop single. Bloop single. It's going to put runners at first and second with nobody out. The runner on first had to hold, so he couldn't get 2 bases. It is a bloop single. As wait a minute, did I have the right guy batting? That's the question. I may have batted him out of turn here. I think Youngblood was supposed to bat. I had Mazzilli. No, he wasn't. I didn't write him in the score sheet. That's the problem. I had my score sheet messed up. Okay, we are correct. Hodges gets the single. So it's 2 singles in a row. Single and a bloop single. First and second, nobody out for the top of the order, Lenny Randall. That's a 262 against a right-hander. That's a 5-4-3 double play. How do you like that? Dave Tomlin turns the double play. Gets the double play turn in his behalf, I should say. 262. 262 is a 5-4-3 double play. 5-4-3 double play. 2 quick outs. And now it's Elliott Maddox with a runner on third and 2 outs for Tomlin to finish this thing off. That's a 5-22. That looks pretty good for a defensive check. And that is bench because he had to come in and catch for Warner, who got ejected. So bench, 5-22. That's a pop-up to behind the plate, and bench is there to put it away, and the ball game is over. Reds club the Mets 10-3. Actually, 11-3. My bad, 11-3. After the Mets took a 3-2 lead in the fourth, it was a home run from Geronimo and a 3-run home run from Rose that sparked this rally. In fact, I'm giving Pete Rose the player of the game. Pete Rose went 3 for 4 with a key 3-run homer. So Pete Rose is my season ticket baseball NBC game of the week player of the game. Pete Rose is your player of the game. Pete Rose. Tomlin holds him off. I'm not going to worry about the line score because it's pretty much irrelevant at this point. I'm kind of tired. I want to move on, do other things. I got some stuff to do around the house. But it is an 11-3 ball game in favor of the Reds. And again, Pete Rose going 3 for 4 with a walk, a 3-run homer, and a couple of singles. He is your player of the game. Next Saturday on the NBC Game of the Week on Season Ticket, we will be in Pittsburgh. It'll be the Los Angeles Dodgers against the Pittsburgh Pirates. That will be from Three River Stadium. Three River Stadium. And let me get the pitching matchup for you guys real quick. Who that's going to be. It's actually going to be a pretty good one. It's John Candelaria against Don Sutton. So hopefully we'll have a lot less runs and a lot less confusion. Next week we get some decent pitching out here. And it will be Candelaria, the Candyman, against Don Sutton from Pittsburgh, Dodgers and Pirates. This is a wild game for me to have to enter into the Pocket Pennant Run computer to track the score and the standings and whatnot, but it should be fun. Interesting to say the least. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that couple of these rare plays in Pocket Pennant, but I'll have to finagle something to make it work. But anyway, Reds win at 11-3. If you're a Stratomatic fan, you can tune in to Jeffrey Guterman's channel in a few minutes for a 1968 Stratomatic game between the Twins and the Tigers. Tonight, RJL, his recap and reveal show will be tonight around 7:30ish, I'm assuming. After his show is over, then I'll be back on doing either Inside Pitch 1977 second game, which would be the April 7th game between the Cardinals and the Pirates, or I will do Stratomatic Yankees and White Sox. Haven't decided which one I want to do yet. I'll pick one of them. But yes, Brian B., you are the man. Your pinch hitters were 3 for 3, and I don't know anybody else is going to be able to be 3 for 3 on pinch hitters like that. I have to even give you props for that. So even my great managing probably wouldn't have done that. So kudos to you, and kudos to your Reds and Mr. RJL. Mama said to be days like these, but what are you going to do? All right, that's going to do it from here. Hope everybody has a wonderful Saturday afternoon, whatever you have planned, whether it's watching some ball games on TV or rolling some dice or getting outside and doing something, whatever it is you do on your Saturdays. Hope you enjoyed this, and hope you enjoyed this presentation despite a few hiccups and the wild nature of the game. Season ticket, I'm still learning it, so some of the intricacies I don't know by heart, but I'm trying to get better at it. So that's going to do it from here. Again, Reds clubbed the Mets 11-3. Pete Rose is the man. And until next Saturday from Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, that'll be the next season ticket game. But until tonight, not sure which game I'm going to do, but sometime tonight around 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, somewhere in that neighborhood, we will have the next game on the channel, either Inside Pitch or Stratomatic. So until then, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.